It's 6 o'clock and this is Anglia Tonight on ITV1.
Welcome to half an hour of news from your part of the region.
A hero's welcome after Britain's most successful Olympics for 100 years. An emotional return for stars from our region.
Got back into my street last night and there's balloons and people waving and shouting, and then had to nip off to the pub and then I had another welcome there, so yeah, it's been crazy.
We'll be live with Lewis and his family and of course that Olympic medal.
Also on the programme tonight, turning up the heat. Indian chefs warn immigration rules are threatening the future of our curries.
Plus the tears of a teacher.
It's 31 years worth of work.
A painful return to a school destroyed by fire as the buildings are demolished. What now for the pupils?
And there's more to Woburn than just a safari park. We enjoy a summer day out amongst the village's hidden treasures.
But first this evening, they have thrilled us with their achievements in Beijing. And today, fantastic scenes as Olympic medal winners from around our region began returning to their own hometowns and villages.
Well, one of the many success stories from our part of the world was bronze medal-winning gymnast Lewis Smith from Cambridgeshire. Now, he had quite a homecoming. And our reporter Rhiannon Mills is with Lewis and his family for us tonight. Rhiannon.
Well, you just have to see all of the banners and balloons and the people out in this street in Peterborough to see how much this Olympic Games has really captured people's imaginations. Over the past few weeks, we've had some amazing sporting achievements to celebrate and, of course, plenty of these medals. In a moment, I'm going to be catching up with the owner of this bronze medal here. But first of all, here's a look at how our region's medal winners have been getting a hero's homecoming. The pride of Britain back from Beijing. With them a huge pile of medals that no one could have predicted, some of them heading back to our region. Today there were no prizes for guessing who they were welcoming home in near Peterborough. Balloons and bunting covering the house and street where Lewis Smith lives, the bronze medal winning gymnast that people here are very proud of.
It's boosted at the end of the day, isn't it, for someone that lives in for a little village. For someone to win, a medal, it's nice.
It's just great, and like knowing that it's come from it's put on the map, really.
The man himself was being welcomed back by the people who probably know him best, his trainers and teammates at the Huntingdon Gymnastics Club. With his success, though, has come a rush of children desperate to have a go, and at the moment there's just not enough space.
We're looking to build a new gymnasium and to cater for all these people that want to come to our club. At the moment we're at saturation point and we can't simply take them on board.
For the family of gold medal winning cyclist Victoria Pendleton, life has started to return to normal. Her proud dad Max just can't wait to congratulate her in person.
I would quite like to give her a cuddle and say well done and how do you feel about it now? Because normally there's a big come down after things like this. It's build up. Then it tends to be anticlimax when you've done it.
In fact, in her hometown of Stotfold, shopkeepers, like this florist on Olympic Court, have been quick to congratulate the Golden Girl. But her success has left Bedfordshire County Council with a small dilemma when it comes to honouring her.
Last year, the Bedfordshire County Council named this part of the National Cycleway Network after her, and she came here and opened it for us. This year, we're just left wondering what we can do to top that, but I'm sure we'll find something.
Let's not forget other Olympians from our part of the world. Sharon Hunt is back home near Bury St Edmunds after helping Britain to win bronze in the equestrian team event. And silver medalist Emma Pooley is at home in Zurich after her cycling triumph. In tiny Ousden near Newmarket, the banners are out for cyclist Ross Edgar, silver medalist in the Keirin. His parents have returned with Olympic souvenirs from Beijing and some irreplaceable memories.
You're so nervous. you can't breathe, you can't think, you're feeling a little bit sick, and you think, oh my God, and then just shout as much as you want, and hope they can hear you, and that will help him to get through the line. And it did.
Their workshop is still cluttered with Ross's old bike stuff, including his first ever competition bike. Now cycling seems to have put Newmarket's normal obsession with horses to one side. With the focus now on London 2012, our future Olympic hopefuls are already busy training. And it clearly won't just be our current medal winners who'll be going for bronze, silver and gold. Well, I was never particularly sporty at school, so I never thought that I'd be holding one of these. And what I can say is they're actually pretty heavy, so I'll give it back to the proud owner of it. Lewis, you must be incredibly proud. How do you feel to see all these people stood outside your house?
Yeah, it's a great privilege to be back, and you know, really am home to a true hero's welcome, and it's great to have all the support.
We saw all the amazing support that you had at the gym as well. It must have really blown you away to see all these people come out.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good satisfaction to know that I haven't just done myself proud, I've done all the friends and family proud as well.
Did you really think that you'd be flying back with a medal?
I knew I had a good chance going out there. I knew if I did the routine I could have done, and there was a good possibility. But I think it's just, you know, going out there, dealing with the pressure, and I did it, so.
It's fantastic. Gran, Dillis, you've had a really exciting day today. Yeah. How are you feeling having Lewis back?
Oh, I feel a lot better now he's back home where I can touch him. Yeah.
You must be very proud then.
I am.
It's a really fantastic achievement. And Mum, earlier, when I came round here earlier, you were in your pyjamas because apparently you've been on the phone all morning dealing with Lewis's calls. It must be great to have him home, though.
Yeah, it's really great to have him home. I feel like I'm a secretary now. I didn't even have time to get dressed. I've just been on the phone from about 7 o'clock this morning. It's been really, really busy, but I'm just really pleased to have him home.
But a great achievement. Lewis is actually getting ready for a holiday in Great Yarmouth in the next couple of weeks, aren't you? And I think it's fair to say that his family are going to keep his feet firmly on the ground, apart from when he's on that pommel horse, of course.
It's fantastic. Thank you very much, Rhiannon. Congratulations to Lewis. I tell you what, I can't watch the Olympics. I cry every time. It's just so emotional, isn't it? They all do so fantastic.
And I think that party is going to go on for a long time,
don't you? It certainly is, and deservedly so. Well, next is your curry house in crisis. Restaurant owners in the region say that immigration rules are causing a shortage of skilled chefs.
Well, tonight there's a curry crisis seminar in Northampton for restaurateurs to discuss what can be done. Carl Heidel reports.
Chef Tipu Rahman admits he's not a master of English, but he is certainly a master of Indian herbs and spices. The chef who works at the Tamarind restaurant in Northampton came here 15 years ago. But if he was now to arrive from Bangladesh, he might not be allowed in, because immigration laws now state you have to have a good command of English and pass a language test.
Yeah, I am speaking English, but not very good English. But I understand the spice and herbs. And I request the British government, then English test for easy for us, then we provide the high quality foods and services for all over the people.
So since the immigration laws and citizenship tests have been introduced, fewer chefs are coming over from India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. And that's causing a curry crisis, according to the Guild of Bangladeshi Restaurateurs. And tonight they're holding a seminar in Northampton to see if anything can be done.
As a chef, he may not be able to speak English, but he can able to make a good curry, and that's what we're looking for. But if you have a compulsory, then you won't be able to get someone, you'll get a lecturer. And we are not looking for somebody coming in the kitchen and giving us a lecturing how to make a curry. We need somebody who can put his hands in and making a really good curry where our customer demand. We are hoping from the government to giving us some kind of relaxation or dispensation to do that. Otherwise, you're not able to get the true chef.
It's estimated that the 12,500 curry houses across the UK are currently looking for 16,000 new staff. And as here in Northampton, they're finding it difficult to recruit.
It's very difficult, so I'm recruiting my cousins and family to help me out at this precise moment.
Because you can't get chefs from abroad to get over here because of the tests and so on?
The test and the laws are so strict.
Immigration lawyers say the law is changing, but it is difficult for workers with poor English to enter the UK.
The new system will actually require them to pass a language competence test before actually coming to the country. They can't even apply without having it. That's some of the practicalities that I suspect they're trying to work at.
Of course, not everybody wants to become a citizen, but it looks, unless immigration rules are made easier, we might end up seeing fewer curry houses with experienced chefs in the kitchens. Carl Heidel, Anglia News, Northampton.
Well, now, it was meant to be a pleasant evening out in Peterborough, but it ended in a violent attack which left a man covered with stab wounds.
Philip Green was trying to take a shortcut home along Kesteven Walk when he was robbed at knife points.
He's now appealing for anyone who may be able to help catch his attackers to come forward. Emma Baker has this report.
It was a violent attack that will stay with Philip for the rest of his life. His walk back from Peterborough city centre should have taken him just minutes. Instead, he was attacked by 3 men who stabbed him several times before taking his watch and his money.
I was just so scared, sort of scared as it was my last day. I thought I was going to die. And they were stabbing me, and then they ripped all my jeans and my pocket, took my wallet out, and they had my PIN card in there, my cash card in there, and they were asking me for my PIN number.
The attack happened at around 11:15 on Wednesday evening. Philip was coming back from the Peterborough Beer Festival when 3 men grabbed him from behind, dragged him to the floor and held him down with a knee. They then stabbed him and asked for money. Philip was left covered in blood and had to have several stitches in his wrists. He says his attackers were white men of medium build and he thinks they could have had Eastern European accents. Police are asking for any witnesses to come forward.
It was a very serious attack. This has been a gentleman who's been attacked with a knife in the street. So if anyone within the area has any information of people who were following them or in the area with weapons or anything like that, if they can contact ourselves, and then obviously we will take that information and carry it forward in the investigation.
Basically, want them caught. I don't want them to go and do it to somebody else and hurt somebody even more or even kill somebody. And that's why I want them, if anybody knows anything, please let the police know.
While Philip's physical scars will heal, it'll take him much longer to get over the mental trauma. He now just hopes that someone out there can help catch those responsible. Emma Baker, Anglia News, Peterborough.
Some of the day's news in brief now. A man has given himself up after an armed siege in Peterborough this afternoon. Officers were called to Hartwell Way in the Ravensthorpe area of the city just after midday. An area around a house had to be cordoned off after the man barricaded himself inside. Later, though, he surrendered. He's now been questioned by police.
A 22-year-old man has suffered a spinal injury after falling from a third-floor flat in Northampton. He fell from the building in Herbert Street on Saturday afternoon. A 19-year-old man has been charged with causing grievous bodily harm.
Some students in Cambridge have seen their rail fares rise by 170% after First Capital Connect standardised discounts for students. The company says previous discounts of up to 75% couldn't be sustained. Now students will all get around a third off their rail tickets.
Well, still to come here on Anglia Tonight, what you got up to over the bank holiday weekend.
And what next for a school destroyed by fire?
Surveying the damage, a painful return to a school destroyed by fire as the buildings are demolished. What now for the pupils?
Plus, a great British invention. Charlotte unravels the secret history of our tea time treats.
And meet a new face in our weather team. Amanda Houston joins us on the programme for her first weather forecast. But is she going to bring us a sunny end to August?
Coming up in the evening news, the brutal death of a teenager who came to Britain to learn about English culture. Mohammed Al-Majed died after suffering severe head injuries outside a takeaway in Hastings.
Also on the programme, the terrifying moment a Ryanair aircraft fell tens of thousands of feet after losing cabin pressure. That's at 6:30 after the news where you are.
A 14-year-old boy has appeared in court in Peterborough charged with 2 counts of rape. It's alleged the attacks took place in Woodfield Park, Welland, a week last Saturday. The alleged victims were boys aged 6 and 8. The hearing before a youth court was adjourned for a month.
Today was the last day that people could have their say about the proposed closure of 67 post offices across Cambridgeshire, Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Bedfordshire and South Lincolnshire. A further 16 could be replaced by outreach services. A decision will be announced in 3 weeks' time.
A number of GCSE students in Suffolk will have their English papers remarked after complaints from head teachers. Only last week, students across the region were celebrating the best GCSE results ever. But today, Suffolk County Council said a number of schools have called for remarks, and the results last week are still very provisional.
Now, whilst most school pupils are getting ready to go back to their own classrooms next week, those at St Felix Middle in Newmarket will start the term in several different schools.
Now, you may remember St Felix was completely destroyed by fire earlier on this month. Today, as the school was being demolished, plans for the future of the site and the students were revealed. Here's Sally Rourke.
All the trophies.
Hello.
And look at the pottery.
It's too much to take in after more than 20 years teaching here.
It's just really scary at the thought of having to start all over again. Don't quite know how you can start all over again.
But it's exactly what they'll have to do. This is the first time Sue Senior has seen the school since it was engulfed by fire in an alleged arson attack. It was destroyed in minutes. And now it's being demolished. It's not a pretty sight. A building burnt to a cinder and the smell of smoke is still in the air. Most people want this building now demolished as quickly as possible so that they can start the new term looking to the future. And today that future was revealed, for the midterm at least. From November, this field next to the school will be the site of a 2-storey porter cabin school, similar to this, just bigger than a football pitch. Until then, the pupils will be placed at other local schools. The support, they say, has been overwhelming. But in the longer term, Suffolk has proposed to abolish middle schools, and a consultation over St Felix begins next month.
Will there be a school here in the long, long term?
Well, the proposals currently are to expand the primary schools and the secondary schools in the area, so there is not a proposal for a school on this site at the moment. But obviously, if this fire hadn't happened, there would have been a school here, so we would have been consulting on what the long-term future is anyway.
To some, it's as if the building has died, but the headmaster is determined the school will live on.
We're the undefeated. We will not let this beat us. We will carry on and we will get better.
Tomorrow, a 14-year-old boy will appear before Bury St Edmunds Youth Court charged with arson. While here, the future of this site hangs in the balance, but the spirit of the school still remains strong. Sally Rourke, Anglia News, Newmarket.
Well, I'm sure we'll let you know what happens, won't we? Now, an entrepreneur from Norfolk with celebrity connections, no less, has reached the £1 million fundraising milestone with his humanitarian business venture.
Duncan Goose, whose sister Claire stars in the bill, runs a company that provides clean water for some of the world's poorest countries. Stuart Leiths has more.
Practising what he preaches, Duncan Goose gave up a successful advertising career to set up his business selling bottled water that benefits communities in Africa. Every bottle sold here raises around 30 pence for play pumps, which draw up underground water through the movement of children's roundabouts. In 3 years, the venture has raised £1 million for 187 pumps.
We've seen school attendance rates go up by 34%. Kids are no longer getting ill because of diarrhoea and from drinking contaminated water. And it's an amazing achievement to get one life changed, let alone the hundreds of thousands that we've done so far.
Duncan, originally from Dersingham in West Norfolk, had help from his sister, actress Claire Goose, who's an ambassador for the charity and enlisted some of her showbiz friends to help raise its profile.
Did you know that more than 1 billion people in the world have no access to clean water?
That each year, at least 2 million people die from drinking contaminated water.
Or that 40 billion hours are spent walking to collect water.
It's a very different role from her current one in the bill.
Well, you wouldn't want to make the swap. You'll need to check the CCTV.
Cameras don't last 5 minutes. Duncan remortgaged his home and borrowed money from family and friends to set up One Water, but he says it's been worth every sacrifice.
I was pretty much working 7 days a week, 20 hours a day for the first year, 18 months. But when you know what it's doing for people over there, it doesn't matter. It's not important how much you suffer because you know what you're doing is a good thing.
Duncan now plans to expand his business to Australia and America, a success story that's proving a real lifeline for those who so desperately need it. Stuart Leiths, Anglia News.
Well, hope you had a good bank holiday weekend. There was certainly lots going on.
Yes, I know Caroline here had to contend with some pretty wild weather on a campsite at the weekend, didn't you? But here's a flavour of some of the things you got up to in tonight's Closer to Home. We have a top-secret rendezvous at Bletchley Park first, home of the wartime codebreakers. This Aston Martin here's a clue. The park is celebrating its links with the creator of James Bond, the author Ian Fleming. Fact and fiction became blurred when Fleming joined the code-breaking team, something that stayed a secret until his death. Now there's a new exhibition dedicated to his work.
Throughout the war, he was here roughly once a fortnight, and he was the instigator of many extraordinary schemes which clearly led to the story of James Bond later on in his life.
The organisers hope the Bond appeal could bring in some much-needed cash. Many of the buildings here are crumbling. This is one bit of history that should live rather than let die.
Well, now here's something else to feast your eyes on. A real treat for foodies at Oldrey Hall in Northamptonshire. The weekend saw the Oldrey Food Show showcasing local produce. Everything from pickled whelks to fidget pie, a favourite of the Earl of Huntingdon 400 years ago, apparently. And there was some local talent too. Adam Gray, who's now head chef at Gary Road's Michelin-starred 24 restaurant in London.
I originally come from East Haddon, which is the next village. I grew up there my whole life, and I left Northamptonshire when I was about 18. Northamptonshire is very, very familiar to me. It's a great county. I love it.
Well, we started with some Aston Martins. Well, let's finish with some Mallock motor racing cars at Silverstone. This year is their 50th anniversary. Mallocks were low-cost racers that people could build themselves, initially sold as kits. It would have cost you £750. Today, some are worth 25 times that.
The reason I came to England was to come to this meeting, and very pleased to have it. It's got me enthusiastic to go back to New Zealand and roll my car back out of the garage, back onto the track.
Now, it's rare to see so many in one place, which proves the Mallocks aren't ready for the checkered flag just yet. I never heard of Mallocks.
No, they look quite fun though, don't they?
Live and learn. OK, on to football. There are 4 second-round ties in the Carling Cup tonight. Northampton go to Premier League Bolton. Milton Keynes Dons are at Championship Cardiff. Ipswich and Colchester are meeting at Portman Road. And League 2 Luton are travelling to Championship Reading.
Well, now on to the next in our Summer on Your Doorstep series. Our reporter Charlotte Fisher has been to Woburn in Bedfordshire.
Well, Woburn, of course, best known for its safari park, but there's much more for the family to explore, as Charlotte found out.
To my mind, Woburn is one of the most beautiful places in the country. Acres of unspoilt parkland, right next to an almost perfect Georgian village.
I just love this architecture, and an incredible 200 buildings in this main street are listed.
The village is extremely well preserved, with strong historic links to the Abbey, the home of the Dukes of Bedford since the 17th century. So where better to start than with the latest Duke?
Well, the Russell family have been in the area for over 450 years, so those links are pretty long and good. With the village, a lot of the people who work at Woburn live in the village. We have a lot of ongoing interaction with the village in terms of pretty free exchange of views as to what we can do to help each other.
So you've been here since you were a boy, and you're bringing up your children here now. What do you love about Woburn?
Personally, I love the evenings, I have to say, when, you know, I guess it's peaceful. People are gone, you see the deer have taken over the park again, and you just go for a walk.
Originally a monastery, the abbey was granted to the Russell family in 1547 by Edward VI, but didn't become the family seat until 1619. At that point, various improvements were made and rooms added, including this fantastic grotto encrusted with shells.
I do love a grotto.
Past visitors to Woburn include Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Victoria. This is the bedroom where she stayed. The former incumbents look down on you as you wander around, and the house is stuffed with beautiful furniture, porcelain and paintings, including a room full of canalettos which the family still uses as a dining room. Outside there's a folly, a Chinese dairy, formal gardens and of course the deer park.
There are 3,000 acres of parkland surrounding the Abbey and miles of public footpath. You can walk here without paying anything at all. The only thing is, you do have to stick to the footpaths.
These days, Woburn is probably best known for its safari park. Of course, you have to pay to go in, as you do at the Abbey, and to see the larger animals you need to stay in your car. But there's also a foot safari where you can get up close and personal with all kinds of smaller creatures, from wallabies and lemurs to farm animals. Plenty here to amuse the children. But we grown-ups have our own pleasures, and the village is a great place for browsing, or putting your feet up and being waited on.
One of the things I look forward to on a day out is sitting down and having a nice cup of tea, especially when it's a cream tea.
And where better to take tea than Woburn, where the tradition was apparently started in the 1840s by Duchess Anna Maria, wife of the 7th Duke.
She felt that the gap between lunch and dinner, which was taken quite late then, about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, was too long, and then you needed a drink of tea and some sandwiches and cakes to bridge the gap. A woman after my own heart.
For those of you who like to be a little more active, the village has its own outdoor swimming pool, perfect for cooling off. If anything, there's too much to do and see here.
One of the things I enjoy most on a hot summer's day is being out on the water. Unfortunately in Woburn, there isn't a river and the lakes are mainly ornamental. This is the only lake where you can go out on a boat, and this is the only kind of boat, but it's got to be done.
It may lack the romance of sailing or rowing, but it's an experience you're unlikely to forget. Charlotte Fisher, Anglia News, Woburn.
Saying that, I think I'm definitely going to go visit Woburn again.
Yeah, it's a lovely place, it really is, yeah.
Now, as we saw earlier on in the programme, we have a new face to welcome to Anglia tonight.
Yes, Amanda Houston is our new weather presenter and hopefully is going to bring us a load more sunshine.
Hopefully, indeed, yes. When I left Newcastle, it was really cold and wet and windy, but since I've been here, it seems to be lovely so far, so fingers crossed.
Oh, yeah,
OK. Well, welcome to our part of the world, and I hear you've got some very good weather to tell us about for the coming week.
Yes, well, it's looking a lot warmer as we head towards the weekend, and we're hoping for a bit of sunshine, but don't hold your breath. Let's take a look at the forecast.
Lightening the load for home buyers. Mortgages from Norwich and Peterborough, sponsors of Anglia Weather.
So tomorrow is looking like another cloudy day, but it looks like the rest of the week is starting to get warmer. So if we take a look at the satellite picture, we can see there has been quite a lot of low cloud around today, and it's going to continue to piling over the next few days, but it should remain dry, and we will get to see the odd sunny spells mixed in there too. So for the rest of this evening, there will be plenty of cloud, but it will remain mostly dry and feel mild. And that's with lows of around 15 degrees, that's 59 Fahrenheit, and that's in a southwesterly breeze. And it's looking a similar picture tomorrow morning, with plenty of cloud around to begin with and staying dry. But by the afternoon, that cloud will start to break and we will see some sunnier breaks throughout the day. And that's with highs of 23 degrees, that's 73 Fahrenheit. And that's just where temperatures should be for this time of year too. So onto the outlook, and it's looking much of the same from Thursday onwards. There will be a lot of cloud around, but it's going to remain mostly dry, and temperatures are gradually moving up as we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend. So by Sunday, they could get well above average, and some places could even see highs of 26 degrees, that's 79 Fahrenheit. So then to summarise, mostly cloudy with some sunny spells on Wednesday and getting warmer from Thursday onwards.
Mortgages from the experts at Norwich and Peterborough.
A Morgan Spiced and Cola. Discover the spirit of summer.
So quite a bit of cloud around, which is keeping the risk of sunburn quite low. We can see we have a medium UV index of 3s and 4s there. So in any sunny spells, just remember it is still August, so you will need to cover up. And the sunburn risk stays medium over the next few days. Bye for now.
It's not looking too bad, is it?
That's much more like it, isn't it, for August to tell you.
Well, that's it. In the grand tradition of the Duchess Anna Maria of Woburn, it's time for us to go and have a cup of tea. I think it's your turn
Yes,
to put the
please.
kettle
All right,
on.
then. That's a deal. Good night.
See you tomorrow. Good night.